What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another one. We've been hearing a lot about the banks, right? And this is going to be a little bit different than what you've heard in the past. And what I'm going to share with you guys, I hope will help you to prepare and get ready. I got a question for you. Are they stealing from us? Are they stealing from us? Now, hopefully you have an emergency fund. Hopefully you have that emergency fund safely stored, maybe in a bank, maybe in an FDIC account. But if you have more than you need in your emergency fund, they may be stealing from you. Now, what do I mean by that? You see, guys, Warren Buffett, he's one of the richest guys in the world, one of the richest people in the world, regardless of gender, right? And Berkshire Hathaway is the holding company owning various different companies and stocks. Now, Warren Buffett's company, Berkshire Hathaway, this is a mega corporation, right? And the stock value is about $500,000 a share. So the average American, middle class, lower income American, middle income American, chances are we don't own one of these shares, right? We might have a piece, like a fractional share through M1 Finance or Robinhood or, Webull or something like that, maybe in an ETF or a mutual fund, but we probably don't own a whole share of Berkshire Hathaway, right? But here's the thing, guys. They're stealing from us, and they're not stealing from us in the way that you might be thinking. Now, I don't know who you use for your banking. Maybe you use a regional bank, a credit union, Bank of America, Chase. But regardless of who you're using, what is happening behind the scenes is what they've been getting away with for years. And I'm going to break this down for you guys, right? So just imagine, Warren Buffett shares in Berkshire Hathaway, they're valued at nearly $500,000, right? But yet somehow Warren Buffett and many other wealthy individuals on the level of Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, they pay a lower tax rate than the average American. In fact, Warren Buffett himself has said that the tax rate that he pays is lower than what his secretary pays due to different types of taxes. Now, this was mind-blowing. Now, I don't know how much his secretary makes. I'm pretty sure she might make in the ballpark of, $100,000 a year, $200,000 a year if you're working directly with Warren Buffett. I have no clue what she makes. But here's the thing. I already know she ain't making nowhere near what he's making. So the fact that Warren Buffett is paying way less in taxes than his secretary makes you wonder, how's he doing this? Why is this happening, right? And now here's the thing, Warren Buffett, he's not paying the same kind of taxes that his secretary is paying. He's not paying the same kinds of taxes that the average middle class earner is paying. And you might be wondering, well, how is he paying a different type of tax? Well, it's because of how his income is received. How is his income paid out to him, right? And here is part of where the theft is happening, right? But it may not be illegal. You see, Warren Buffett, he's paying capital gains tax on the stocks that he's sold. And these capital gains rates for the stocks that he sold, they're taxed at a much lower rate. Okay. And so, and there's a lot of criticism about, wealthy individuals being undertaxed, not paying their fair share. We've all heard these phrases before, right? And so, the thing is the maximum income tax on capital gains is about 20%. But if you look at the income, like income paid through a paycheck, earned income, you've heard these terms before. The earned income tax rate, maximum tax rate is nearly 40%. It's a huge difference. So technically, Warren Buffett could be paying up to 20% at max. Compared to a secretary, she might be paying up to 40%. Doesn't sound fair, does it? Now, here's something that's a little bit, it almost gets worse from here, right? Now, the disparity between the richest Americans and the rest of the population is by far ginormous and ridiculous, right? So if we look at like the average income tax, for the richest person, rather not the average income tax, because the average income tax really hasn't changed very much. Let's look at the average income. So the average income of the richest person, of the richest people in the United States, is like, it has increased by like 400%. And if you compare that income increase, 400%, right? It has increased 400% compared to the average income of the average middle class American. It's only increased by 50%. So just imagine, we're in a race, the middle class, me and you, versus the rich, the mega wealthy. Imagine we can only go 50 miles an hour in our cars, but their cars are going 400 miles an hour. How can we ever catch up? And so this is how the middle class is getting wiped out. And we've heard this term before, middle class is going away, whatever. But the simple fact of the matter is that the after-tax income of the richest Americans has risen by over 400% compared to the 50%, or compared to 50% for the average middle class income earner. And so the middle class is the middle class is kind of getting wiped out, just because if you think about it, if you have the lower class, the middle class, and then the upper class, right? If you're in the middle, cool. But if there's more people falling into the upper class and more people falling into the lower class, then there's like less and less and less people in the middle. Now, you can either move up or you can move down. Now, I choose to move up. And I want you guys to understand that just because the middle class is technically kind of getting wiped out, it doesn't mean that you need to get wiped out. And this is part of the motivation for this channel for me. Like, I love talking about finances, personal finance, side hustles, businesses, growing your net worth, getting out of debt, getting out of the rut that you may or may not be in, and, living a better life ultimately, right? And it's understanding some of these, some of the rules to the game. You see, the wealthy, the rich, they understand the rules of the game, and they're leveraging the game to their greatest benefit, right? And so if we look at the difference, if we look at basically the differences in the way that the wealthy and the working individuals make their money and they pay their taxes, right? So most wealthy individuals, if they're wealthy, they don't really need to make that much money in income because they're already wealthy. It's kind of like, think about Warren Buffett, right? Jeff Bezos. These guys, they're already billionaires. If they don't get another paycheck in their lifetime, they're still good, right? So if you think about that, how much stocks are they really going to sell, right? They're probably not going to sell that many stocks. But here's the kicker, right? Did you know that Warren Buffett purchased Berkshire Hathaway stocks like 50 years ago or more? I don't even know how long ago, for like $19 a share. $19 a share, right? But today they're worth like $500,000 a share. So just look at that profit margin, right? Look at that gain. You bought something for $19 and all of a sudden it's worth $500,000. Like, that's ridiculous. That's equivalent to winning the lottery, right? But imagine winning the lottery like thousands of times in a row, right? That would be unbelievable, right? Well, Warren Buffett has basically done that, because he doesn't own one share of Berkshire Hathaway. He owns thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of Berkshire Hathaway stocks. And here's the thing. He doesn't owe tax on any kind of capital gains or anything like that if he didn't sell the stocks. You see, his net worth has increased dramatically over the years, but his $19 Berkshire Hathaway stock isn't being taxed for the difference between $500,000 and $19 until he sells. So if he never sells, he'll never pay tax. So his net worth can increase by millions and even billions of dollars and pay $0 in taxes if he never sells. Now, if he decides to pay himself a paycheck through his company, he'll pay taxes on that. However, if he's getting paid through capital, if he's getting paid through shares, additional shares that are being distributed to him, maybe stock options, the rules are still different for him. Okay. So the key here is paying attention to how the wealthy, how the rich are getting paid, and comparing that to how the middle class is getting paid. And then if we understand that, then we can understand how to position ourselves to be able to leverage this system for ourselves. One of the huge benefits, not beyond the compounding interest, the compounding of our money, growing our net worth, but the tax code is different for passive income versus active income. All right. Now, let's look at this even further. Right now, most individuals, we get paid and we're taxed an income bracket. We're taxed at an income range of somewhere between 10 and 37%. Right. Wealthy individuals, they derive most of their income from investments, and they're taxed as capital gains. Now, if the capital gains rates, are as high as 20%, but earned income, paycheck income is as high as 37%, we can see how we're literally facing so much more headwind than they are. But what if we started investing more in the stock market? What if we started increasing how much income we earn through stock appreciation? Here's another thing that I want to share with you guys. So it's this unrealized wealth and taxation that's really taking place here. So did you know that if, let's just say, Warren Buffett bought these stocks at $19, which he did, and they're worth $500,000 today. If he sold one of those shares, he would have to pay tax on roughly $500,000 worth of income, because $500,000 is his current value of those stocks today, but his purchase price was only $19. So basically, he almost got those stocks for free. So $500,000 in income would be ultimately reported, and then he would pay taxes on that income. But if he doesn't need to sell, then he's not going to have to pay any taxes on those, right? But here's a real kicker. Let's just say Warren Buffett never sells any more shares, or sells very minimal, right? He doesn't. He lives a very minimal lifestyle according to what he portrays. Once he passes, whoever he leaves that wealth to, whoever he leaves those stocks to, they will receive that as an inheritance, and the taxes that would be due for them would only be based on what is above and beyond the value that they were when they received them. So let me just basically try to explain this a little bit more clearly. You would think that some form of tax would be collected on this $500,000 gain per share of taxes that Warren Buffett has collected over the years. But if he never sold them, then he'd never pay taxes on it. But if he dies and gives them to someone else, his heirs, they will receive that wealth, and it's been literally transferred. We hear the term wealth transfer a lot, right? This wealth will be transferred from Warren Buffett to whoever he decided to leave this money to, and then they would only have to pay taxes on anything above and beyond the value. They would only have to pay taxes on the value of those stocks above and beyond how much they were worth when they were issued to them. So in other words, let's just say I'm Warren Buffett's son, right? So let's just pretend I'm Warren Buffett's son. He leaves me, all these Berkshire Hathaway stocks that are worth $500,000 each, right? That would mean that I wouldn't have to pay any taxes on them if I were to sell them. However, if those stocks increase in value and they go from being worth $500,000 to being worth $600,000 per share, then I would only have to pay taxes on the $100,000 in capital appreciation. And basically all of the taxes that Warren Buffett hadn't paid on these stocks and shares of Berkshire Hathaway, if he transferred that wealth over to me, he would basically have never had to pay any taxes on those gains. Isn't that like wild? And it's like, understanding these different loopholes in the tax code, it really pisses people off. But at the same time, it's kind of like, wow, like if you understand these loopholes, these tax code rules, then kind of helps you get ahead. Now, I'm not a tax advisor. You should always seek advice from a professional tax person, CPA and whatnot. I am not that, and I never portray to be that. I'm not a investment advisor. None of that stuff. I don't invest money for you guys or for anyone else. I invest my own money. By the way, if you guys are new to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel and drop a like for the video. I totally appreciate that. Now, Jeff Bezos, he's also an example of wealth primarily in stocks. And basically, his wealth is only taxed when the stock is sold as capital gains. So what this is called, and a lot of people are not even familiar with this, is actually called a stepped up basis. And so basically, when, wealthy individuals, and it doesn't have to be wealthy individuals, me and you can do this too. When you have all of these different stocks, and it works with real estate as well, right? So when you have all these different stocks and you never sell them and you leave them to your heirs, they basically take advantage of what's basically called a stepped up basis. And it's a loophole that's ultimately mainly exploited by the rich, not because only the rich can do it, but usually only the rich know about it. One of the little secret hacks that they leverage, right? And, and this is just, something I happen to learn over the years, thanks to, one of the many mentors I've had over the years. And I really appreciate the guidance and the lessons that I've learned from these men and women, male and female mentors that I've had over the years. But yeah, I just thought I would share this with you guys because, it's wild. It's really wild how different the rules are for different people. But the rules are really basically different based on the decisions that we make. And so this is like that buy, borrow, die strategy that many people use to avoid capital gains taxes. So, I just wanted to share this with you guys because, if I have more money in my bank account than I need for my bills, daily expenses, monthly expenses, and above and beyond my emergency fund, then I really need to reallocate that money somewhere else, because otherwise the banks are simply using this money to loan my money out to someone else. The banks are using my money to make other types of investments, and they can vary greatly in terms of the risk that they're taking on by lending my money out and putting it out there for them to make money off of. What is it? Silicon Valley Bank, First Republic. These banks made fairly, I won't say that their investments were very risky, because they really weren't. In many cases, they were investing in U.S. treasuries. And in most cases, that's actually a fairly conservative investment. But when you ignore the fact that the market can shift, and you may or may, and as a bank, you may or may not be able to quickly get out of those treasury investments, you could be left holding the bag, and this profitable investment could end up quickly turning into a loss. And this is what a lot of the banks found themselves in that type of scenario. But I want to ask you guys, what are you doing to put yourself in a better position? Are you looking to increase your income? Are you looking to invest more into the stock market? Are you looking to create a home-based business? Maybe a side hustle? Are you trying to do any of that? That's my question for you guys. Because if we're not consistently growing our income and investing our money, then we're effectively making everyone else rich and allowing the banks to steal from us. So anyway, guys, let me know what you guys thought about this video. Drop me some likes, share this video with a friend. I really appreciate the support. Consider subscribing to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.